Hello, and welcome to another video. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I just wanted to run through some more exam questions. So hopefully this kind of section A, I'll work through it and explain my reasoning, and you will hopefully understand everything that I'm going through, and it will make your life in terms of answering these sorts of questions much easier as well. So today I'm going for a May 2020. It's an AS paper, so this is suitable for year 12, so you're studying economics, and we're going to be looking at macroeconomics. So it's paper 2, the UK economy, performance and policies. So I'm just going to go through all of section A. I'm going to run through it as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to explain my reasoning, and feel free to leave comments below comments or questions if you have any regarding the paper. So section A, you have, as it says there, you're advised to spend 25 minutes. Most people spend less than that, but I guess, just try and do that as quickly as possible because the majority of marks are contained in the later sections. So I'm just going to increase this. So here we go. All right. So let's start off. So define the term inflation. Inflation is the general increase in the price of goods and services over a given time period. So usually it's over a year, and that's the kind of information that you would get. So at the moment, the inflation rate in the UK is 11.1%. Explain one likely cause of inflation. There are loads of different causes, but I don't know. An increase in the value of housing, which causes the wealth effect and an increase in household consumption. There are lots of things there. Maybe an increase in investment, maybe an increase in the cost of raw materials, maybe an increase in exported goods, anything that increases the level of aggregate demand or any of the components of aggregate demand, or anything that would cause an increase in the cost of production, which would cause that inward shift of the short-run aggregate supply curve. Okay, from the data above, it can be deduced that the percentage points difference between CPI and RPI was, okay, so CPI was 2.1% and RPI is 1.5%. So I assume it's 0.6. Yeah, 2.1 minus 1.5 is 0.6. Illustrate the shape of the classical long-run aggregate supply curve on the diagram below. Now, I can do this. I just want to make sure that it's a perfectly straight line. There we go. There's my classical LRAS curve. So classical economists or a classical LRAS curve is perfectly vertical, and we'll explain the reason why below. If you're drawing a Keynesian LRAS curve, it would look something like so. Now mine's not as neat. It should just be kind of at that point there. It should be more of a flat like so, but it doesn't particularly matter. So the Keynesian, the one that we are concerned about for the classical is the one that I have drawn initially there. Explain the reason for the shape of the classical long-run AS curve. The classical LRAS curve is perfectly inelastic as they believe the price level will adjust to maintain full employment output in the long run. That's probably an easier way to explain that, but basically what we're saying is that if there is, for some reason, any shock to the economy, the price level will either increase or decrease depending on what's needed in order to maintain that we always operate at that vertical, at that full employment output here. So that's YFE, full employment output. Okay. We move on. Which one of the following is an example of a market-based supply-side policy? Okay, so market-based is removing government intervention. Now the other type of, so you get market-based and you have interventionists. Those are the two types of supply-side policies. Interventions. Okay, so a reduction in unemployment benefits, well, it sounds right. Just a little bit back. Construction of new transportation links, no, because that would be the government who do that. Government funded, no, because that's the government. Increased government spending on healthcare, no. Okay, so the answer is A. A reduction in unemployment benefits. That's reducing the level of state intervention or government intervention, and the idea behind reducing unemployment benefits, or one of the ideas behind it, is that you encourage those who are unemployed to be more proactive in finding work, and therefore you increase the size of the labour force, you increase the number of those employed, and there is a positive multiplier effect, hopefully. Okay, the UK's net monthly balance of trade in goods and services by value January 2014 to January 2018 is shown in the chart below. Okay, net monthly balance of trade in goods and services. Okay, so that would be a trade surplus. And that would be a trade deficit. Okay, which one of the following can be inferred from the above chart over the period shown? The government? No, it's not the government, because this is exports minus imports. We can think about it like that. This has got nothing to do with the government. The UK's balance of trade by value was always in equilibrium. No, because equilibrium is where it's zero, so that's wrong. The value of imports was greater than the value of exports. That sounds right, yeah. The value of inflows was greater than the value of outflows. The outflows, inflows, outflows of what? So because this last one is basically thrown in there as a kind of way to trick you, it's definitely not right. So the answer is C. Okay, the value of imports is greater than the value of exports. We can see that because they're in a trade deficit, right? There's the value, and for the UK economy, we generally operate with a trade deficit because we import a lot of things like food from other nations, and we generally operate with a trade deficit. Explain one likely reason for the UK's balance of trade in goods and services over the period shown. Refer to the chart on page 6 in your answer. Okay, so the key point there then is that you refer to the chart. Don't ignore what the question asks you to do. So, okay, let's do that first, and then we can do it. So one likely reason for the UK's trade deficit is the UK's high marginal propensity to import, or also known as NPM. Okay, UK households and firms buy a more significant value of imported goods from foreign nations than they import, or than they import. Okay, and then I need to refer to the diagram. So I could say, for example, in what's an easy one? 2018, the UK trade deficit was just under £2 billion. So in 2018, the UK trade deficit was just under, or just below, 2 billion. Define the term interest rate. I've skipped the whole question. In August 2018, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of England raised the UK's base interest rate from 0.5% to 0.75%. It is now 3%. The Bank of England are meeting next week to discuss changing it again. The interest rate, quite simply, is the reward for saving. Or the cost of borrowing. That's all they're looking for on Edexcel for the example. Nothing more than that. Annotate the aggregate demand and short-run aggregate supply diagram below to show the possible impact of the rise of the base interest rate on the equilibrium level of real output and price level. Okay, if you have an increase in the base rate, what you're going to find is that if you think about the components of aggregate demand, C plus I plus G plus X minus M, that consumption is going to decrease because the value of savings, or the reward for saving, becomes higher when they increase the base rate. Investment is going to decrease because the cost of borrowing is more expensive for firms, so they might hold off on it. Government spending isn't particularly impacted. Net trade, what we think about is that when we have an increase in the base rate, that creates hot money flows where investors chase the best rate of return. That typically increases the demand for whatever currency that is. So let's take the pound. So therefore, the pound would appreciate in value. And what we would see is that actually, overall, X minus M would increase. However, because this consumption component makes up 65% approximately of aggregate demand in the UK, that's the most significant impact. So what we would do is draw an AD curve like so, and I would put it as AD1 maybe, and then I will make sure to draw in my equilibrium points to show the inward shift, and that's P2 and that's Y2, and we're done. Which of the following demand side policies best explains a rise in the base interest rate? Okay, so demand side policies are fit into two categories. You've got fiscal or you've got monetary. Fiscal is government spending or taxation. Those are the two options. Monetary policy is the base rate being adjusted, or it is quantitative easing, influencing the supply of money. So if they're going to have a rise in the base rate, that is contractionary monetary policy. So contractionary fiscal policy is increasing government spending or decreasing government spending or increasing tax. Expansionary fiscal policy is increasing government spending or decreasing tax. Expansionary monetary policy is lowering the base rate or increasing quantitative easing. Contractionary monetary policy is increasing the base rate or decreasing quantitative easing. And because they're saying it's going to be a rise in the base rate, that is what you would expect. Okay, now define the term gross national income. So a simple way to do that is that gross national income is the value of national income equals national output equals national expenditure, or the total value of income earned by a country's citizens. Either one, doesn't matter. Which of the following represents the ratio of gross national income in 2015 to gross national income in 2017? Okay, so I need to get to my calculator. And 2017 is 2,008,593, and 2015 is 1,852,845. So that gives me 1.08. So that means it's 1 to 1.08. Okay, and then the final question. Using 2014 as the base year calculates the index number for 2016. You're advised to show you're working. Okay, so the base year, what you're saying is that for 2014, the value of the index number is 100. That's typically, or almost always the case, that the base year will be 100 for your exam. 2014 is 100, so if 2014 is 100, we know that it is 2014 is 1806468, 1806468, and 2016 is equal to 1920116. Okay, straightforward way to do this is I find out what the difference between those two numbers are in terms of percentage, and then I add it onto my my base year. So if I'm looking to find out what the percentage increase in those numbers are, I can simply, well, the way that I do is 1920116 divided by 1806468, and that tells me that it comes out, if you do that, as 1.06, which tells me that it's 6.3 approximately percent higher. Greater. So all I need to do in order to put that in is my 2016 index number is equal to 106.3. Done. You just add on the 6.3 to 100, and there you go. Hopefully that explains it, and then you can move on to section B. So that's taken me, actually I don't know how long it's taken me, but anyway, hopefully not that long, and hopefully this explains quite a lot of the content and is useful in terms of making sure that you can answer these questions when it's your turn too. One thing I would suggest, as always, is to make sure that you are always using the extracts that's given to you, or referencing diagrams. Is a really easy way to pick up a mark. And also, this is the way that I like to answer multiple choice questions, but just go through and cross out the ones which are just plain wrong, because then you just increase the probability that you're going to get the answer correct. I hope this was useful, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Cheers. Bye.